Hello everyone and welcome to this lab section where we will focus on the real-time analytics service of Microsoft Azure, that is Azure Stream Analytics. Before defining the Stream Analytics job, you should prepare the input data. So the first thing we will do is create a namespace in the Events Hub. For that, I will go to the Search tab here and look for Event Hubs. Here it is. Click on this option here. Azure Event Hubs is a big data streaming platform and event ingestion service that can receive and process millions of events per second. And an Event Hub's namespace provides a unique scoping container in which you create one or more Event Hubs. Let's create our first namespace. The first thing is to select the subscription. Then we will select the resource group. This is our default resource group, so let's select it. Next, we need to give a namespace name. The name must be unique throughout the Azure, and I will name it as Azure-NS155. So this is our namespace name. And next, we will select the pricing tier. Azure recommends us to use this one, the standard, which has 20 consumer groups and 1000 brokered connections. You can go for other options as per your requirement. Then we need to select the throughput units. The throughput capacity of Event Hubs is controlled by throughput units. Throughput units are pre-purchased units of capacity. A single throughput lets you ingress up to 1 MB per second or 1000 events per second. So we will select its value as 1 for now. Review this and create the namespace. The validation has been successful. Let's create it. Alright, so the deployment is completed as of now. Move back to the resource. So the namespace is created successfully. Next, we will create an Event Hub inside our namespace. Click on this plus sign with the Event Hub over here. Now name the Event Hub of your choice, and I will name it as My Event Hub. So this name is available for us to use. Next, we have the options for the partition count and the message retention. I will select a value of 2 for the partition count, keeping others as default. Let's create this Event Hub. Alright, the next thing we need to do is go to the Entities tab and select the Event Hubs option here. This is the Event Hub that we just created. Once you come onto this option, go to the option which is Shared Access Policies. And here we will add a new policy. Give it a name. I will name it as My Policy. And then we will select the Manage option here, giving both the send and listen access using this policy to the Event Hub. Now create this policy. The policy is successfully created. Now when you click on this option here, here are the keys, the primary, secondary and the connection string secondary key. Let's copy the connection string primary key. Now paste it in any editor. The thing I want to show here is that in this link, here you have the endpoint link to this Event Hub, the shared access key, and then we have the shared access key itself, and finally the entity path. So we will be using it with the TelecoGenerator app. It will be used to connect a third-party app sending real-time data so that it can be collected by the Event Hubs. We will see that in the upcoming labs. Hello and welcome to this lab session. In this session, you will learn how to configure the TelecoGenerator app provided by Microsoft Azure. This app generates the phone call data which contains fraudulent calls which are filtered by the Stream Analytics Job. If you go inside the folder, these are the files present inside the folder when you unzip it. This file, telecodatagen.exe.config, is the important one. All the configuration will be done inside this. Let me open it. Here is the Event Hub name configuration key and the Microsoft Service Bus connection string. If you remember previously, we copied these links here. We have here the values for the endpoint, shared access key, and the endpoint. The first thing you need to do is copy the name of the entity path and go back to the configuration file and paste it into the Event Hub name over here. Then the next thing is accept the entity path value, copy the complete configuration values, and then moving back to the configuration file, paste it over here in the service bus connection string. Now save this file and we are good to go. After this, we will go back to the folder here. Now we need to start the command prompt. And now using the cd command, we will change the current working directory to the path of the folder. Press enter and now we are in the TelecoGenerator folder. Now we will run this TelecoGenerator app so that we get the data in our event hubs. This is the command that you need to write in the command prompt. So this command says to start the TelecoGenerator app with these three arguments. The first one here is 1000, which is the number of samples that this app will generate per hour. The next value 0.2 is the percentage of fraud probability, which means that about 20% of the call records will look fraudulent. Then the third value here is the number of hours. This means that the app will run for 2 hours. Press enter to run it. Here you can see the values are initialized and the data generation is started. The next thing we will do is bring in this data in the Azure Stream Analytics and verify that we are getting this data there. There I will explain what this data is and what more we can do with this data. Hello and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, you will learn how to create an Azure Stream Analytics job. This is done after you have created the Event Hub's namespace and the Event Hub. Now search here for the Stream Analytics and go on to this option. Currently, we don't have any jobs as of now, so we will go to the Create Stream Analytics Job and create a new job workspace for our project. First thing first, given a job name, I will name it as Teleco Data Fraud Detect, that is short for detection. So this name is available for us to use. The Azure subscription will be same as the default one. Then the resource group that we have been using till now. Then you have the option for location. We will go with the default one. Then there is the option for the number of streaming units you want. Streaming units represent the computing resources that are allocated to execute a stream analytics job. The higher the number of SUs, the more CPUs and memory resources are allocated for your job. We will keep it to a minimum for now. Let's create it. So the deployment is initializing and is in progress as of now. Alright, so the deployment is completed and it is now ready for use. Let's move to this resource. And here is the dashboard for the Stream Analytics jobs. Whatever activities will be performed, that can be observed and monitored here. So this is how you create a job in Stream Analytics. In the next lab session, we will look at creating the input and output jobs in this Azure service. Hello and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, we will learn how to create input jobs in Azure Stream Analytics. If you remember previously, we created this Teleco Data Fraud Detection job in Stream Analytics. To perform any activity, you need to configure the input and the output job. so that you have a plan as to where the data in real time will come from and what you want to do with that data. Here in the sidebar, you can see that we have the Job Topology tab and the options for inputs, functions, query, and outputs. We will go to the Inputs tab here. On the top, you will find the option for the Add Stream Input. When you click on this, you will find multiple options to bring in the data. So you see that we can bring in the data from the Event Hub, that's our case, or from the IoT Hub, where you can interface some real-time IoT sensors, and you can also bring data from Azure storage. For our case, we will use the Event Hub option. Let's name it. I will name it as Call Stream Data. Then there are two options. Either you can provide the Event Hub setting manually, or you can select the Event Hub from your subscription. I will go for the second option. Let's select the default subscription we have, then the Event Hub's namespace. Next, we have the Event Hub name. So we only have this single Event Hub that we just created. Next is the option for the Event Hub consumer group. We will select Create New. Now this option here for authentication mode is important. We have two options here, Manage Identity and Connection String. We will work with the connection string. If you remember, we previously saw the links and we used it in the configuration file for the TelecoGenerator app as well. Now we have the policy, so the policy we will be using is the My Policy, which we created. Leaving the rest of the setting to default, save it. So the input we created is being tested for connection. And now the input stream is created and you can see it here. Here you have the options to test the connection, delete the input job, and to sample the input data. That is, you can look at what data you are receiving in this job. As of now, we won't be getting any data here as our Teleco app is not running. So this is how you create the input job. In our next lab session, we will look at creating the output job and then bringing in this real-time data. Hello and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, you will learn how to configure an output job. Right now, I am in the Output Jobs tab. If you go to the option here for the add, you will find many options where you can save your output for the input stream data. You can send it to the Event Hub, the SQL database, Blob storage, or table storage. Or you can visualize it in the Power BI tool. And there are many other options that you can use based on your requirements. For our case, we will save our data into the Blob storage. Like the data that is coming in real time from the Event Hub will be saved in the Blob storage. So before we configure the output job, we first need to create a container in the Blob where we want our data to get loaded. So let me move to the Blob storage service. Here is our Blob storage that we have been using so far. I will go in here and inside the containers, we will create a new one. Click on the new container option and let's name it as Call Stream Data. And let me change the private access level to container level. No advanced settings required, so click on Create. Now our container is created successfully. If I show you this, it is empty as of now. Now moving back to the output job, select the Add option and there select the Blob storage option. Let's name the output job as a Call Data Blob. Using the subscription 1, and our storage account will be Blob storage. Then we have the container option. And here you can see it automatically fetches the container name for our storage. Then we need to set the authentication mode, and we will select the connection string authentication mode. Then this is the option to select in what format you want your data to be stored. So I will select the comma separated files option. Then the encoding will be UTF-8. If you want to limit the data with some minimum rows or you want specific time frame data, you can do this here. So these are all our settings. Let's save this job now. It will test the connection and save it. Our output job is successfully created. Now that we have created the input and output job, you might be wondering that when we run this app, will we be able to see the data? So the answer is no, because we need to create a query or a function that will be responsible to perform the activity you want. So we will be looking at it in our next lab session. Hello everyone and welcome to this lab session. In this lesson, you will learn how to bring in the real-time data from any source to the Blob storage that we created previously. So as of now, we have created the input as well as the output jobs. So we will be bringing in the data to the container in this output job we created previously. Let's move to the TelecoGenerator app. These are the same arguments we are using. We need 1000 samples per hour with a fraud data probability of 20%, and we want to run the app for 2 hours. Hit enter to run it. So it has initialized the arguments, and we have the data here being generated. So you can see it generates the data UK, China, and all that. Moving back to our Azure Stream Analytics, here you will find the option for the query. And over here, when you select the input preview option, so it will refresh and try to bring in the data that it is receiving with the help of this input job, that is this call stream we created. All this data you see here is just for preview and is not being saved anywhere as of now. So the main question here is, how do we bring this data and save it to the Blob storage? Let's see how to do this. The test results are empty as of now. To save data to Blob storage, we need to write a query. If you want the data, whatever is coming into this input job, we write in SQL script. Select star means everything from the input job, which is called stream. If I quickly run only this query, you can see that we have all the data coming in live. And this is the app from where we are getting this data. Now I will write the query to save data to the container. Right now in the container, you can see we don't have any data even when I refresh it. So we will select all, and into means we will push all the data inside this. So we want it to be pushed inside the call data blob, and we want it to go from our call stream. So this is our query. Let's test it. It's running and now save this query. So now we will go back to the overview tab. Don't worry about this red warning. It is because of some previous jobs that I ran. Over here, click on the Start button. So it shows the details that will run on execution of the job. So the service is now starting. So now since it's running, if I go to the container and refresh it, you can see that it starts to get the data here. You can see the time here as well. And this is the current time. And the data is being updated in real time. If I refresh it, it will update the time again and again. because it's a continuous stream of data coming in all the time till this app here is running. Also, in the stream jobs, you can see that the status here is running. Either when the data stops to come or you stop the job here, the data in the storage will stop to save. Let me stop this job here, and then moving back to the container, let's refresh it. So now you can see that the data has stopped coming in. Each time I refresh it, there is no update. Let's have a look at the data that we have. Click on download here. So here is the data. This is the same data that we generated with the help of a TelecoGenerator app. So this is how you can perform the complete activity on real-time stream data, creating input and output jobs, and then writing down a query to perform whatever you want to do with the data. For this learning example, we stored it in the Blob storage. You can perform much more on the dataset, like some analytics that can be with the help of SQL or in the form of visuals using the Power BI tool. I hope this has cleared your concept on the overall working of the Azure Stream Analytics service.